Alright, welcome back to Turdtowns, the channel that shines a light on some of the lesser known places in the UK. For good, but usually for bad reasons. This week we finally headed off to Wiltshire, something you've all been asking for me to do for a while. I admittedly wasn't in a rush to come here because I know it's a pretty nice county and I didn't expect to find many bad towns. We ended up visiting pretty much every town in Wiltshire and it just wasn't working. There wasn't an angle for most towns, it was too nice. So in the end, we settled on 5 places which we could justify being a turd town. Before we start out, these videos are incredibly expensive to produce, so please comment and share this video as it really helps us get out and about to film more videos. And those aren't just words. A car almost crashed head on into us at 6 in the morning. In the end, only my wing mirror got hit, but it was a close call. So like, comment and subscribe to help my car come back to life. Here are the 5 biggest turd towns in Wiltshire. Number 5, Devizes. Devizes is a town with a population of 16,834, which some of you may find unusual to even be featuring on this list, because it's a nice place. And you'd mostly be right to think that. We have our reasons for including it though. Since 2018, the crime rate has gotten worse every year here. You might think this is strange for a small touristy beauty spot. Well, this year the police here revealed that Devizes has its own dirty dozen. They blamed all the crime on the town on just 12 youths. Apparently these 12 youths are responsible for knife fights in the street, armed robberies and arson attacks. They're destroying the entire town and residents live here in fear of these 12 scumbags. Maybe Devizes should resort to some sort of country justice to remove these 12 offenders. Or maybe, there's a lot of army people around. Do something, guys. Either way, it's clearly gotten worse each year and the police aren't doing anything to help. It somehow has the worst crime rate in Wiltshire, which we just couldn't ignore when making this list. And we were in a similar situation with Salisbury, which has the second worst crime in Wiltshire. But it's also really nice. But as a ratio, Devizes beats it, and we were just more comfortable including Devizes over Salisbury. We did want to fly the drone here, but we couldn't because a giant army chopper was doing manoeuvres around the town. This part of England is known for its army barracks due to the terrain and realness of the land. I'd be pretty annoyed if I lived here and a helicopter was flying outside my window every 10 seconds. It's touristy here due to all the ancient buildings and the nearby canal. Good luck getting a parking space if you're a local. It can't be denied that Devizes is a good looking place, but with an average house price of $301,000, we think that's a complete rip-off when you've got helicopters flying outside your window all sorts of hours, gormless tourists walking slow, acting dumb and looking stupid, and of course the Wiltshire crime enterprise known as the Dirty Dozen. Number 4, Warminster. Warminster is a town with a population of 18,000, which was much worse than I expected. It has to be one of the most dreary, pointless places to come into existence. This place is an embarrassment to Wiltshire. It's so run down and dirty, I felt borderline suicidal walking the main street. Other than the number 1 spot on this list, it must be the most run down place in Wiltshire. And that's the only award this place could ever win. Second place at the most run down awards. Congratulations. The whole place makes me feel sick. You wouldn't even recognise that you're in Wiltshire because this place has no style or class. Somehow it has a high average house price of $315,000 despite being the sort of place you'd come to visit to have your dog put down. Last month there was outrage in the town as a newly built tennis facility was smashed up within a few days of opening. The brand new skate park was vandalised too, and there was also a mass brawl in the skate park. Presumably these people will have health problems and were told by their doctor to find an outside hobby. It's a shame they chose vandalism over smoking. So Warminster. In the words of the fat guy of G getting bummed, it's quite nice actually. Number 3, Westbury. Westbury is an extremely pointless town with a population of 16,404. It's actually just up the A350 from Warminster. Visiting Westbury was a bit of a shock to the system. There's just nothing here. It really feels like a place on the edge of death. Everything was run down and overgrown. It felt like stepping back into 1974. And I know overgrown bushes were all the rage back then, but times have changed. Westbury on trim, this is not. The main shopping area is some vile council flats with pointless shops underneath. I can't imagine anyone wanting to ever visit here. More still, I can't believe this is all they have here. We kept walking around expecting to find the proper shopping area, but this is truly it. The majority of the Wiltshire towns have an expensive look to them and their own special unique design, whilst this place looks like a rundown London suburb. The main road goes right through the town, and even in the middle of the day it feels extremely congested. The houses are packed tightly to the small but busy road, and you can almost feel the pollution choking your lungs. The houses are all covered in soot and grime from the passing vehicles and farm traffic. I couldn't wait to leave. On the plus side, Westbury is extremely cheap in a county where the average house price is as high as almost 400k. You can snub a house in Westbury at an average of 287,000, which might seem like a good deal, until you realise that Wiltshire residents pay some of the highest council tax in the UK. If I was a resident of Westbury, I'd question if this is good value for money because this place is filthy. And it's not like the council aren't aware of it. They've been asking for a bypass for this town for 20 years. The whole place stinks. I could feel my lungs working overtime. Even a town councillor recently said that building a bypass sometime in the future is the same as telling a starving African child, don't worry, world poverty will be solved in 50 years. So don't visit Westbury, there's nothing to see or do. The place is extremely depressing and you'll probably walk away with a respiratory disease. Number 2, Trowbridge. Now we're talking. Trowbridge is somehow the county town of Wiltshire with a population of 43,744. Trowbridge, or Trowvegas as the residents call it, has to go down as the worst county town of all time. A county town essentially means it's the capital and the most important place in the county. Well, if this is the most important place in the county, then there's not much hope for the rest of Wiltshire. The main shopping area is decent here, but it feels like it's drained all the life away from the rest of the town. All the other units are left empty and lifeless. The most famous person from Trowbridge is disgraced influencer Elle Darby, which makes sense as she's clearly influenced the other residents in Trowbridge with their deformed faces and bad decisions. You've got it! Trowbridge is one of those places where everybody looks a certain way. You could just tell that someone's from here. Must have been something in the water. Trowbridge is the second most deprived town in Wiltshire, and you can clearly tell. No one seems to be working here, unless you count working your nostrils. There's certainly a case to have Trowbridge removed as the county town of Wiltshire, and instead it should be Salisbury. To live in this hellhole, you can expect to pay the fairly cheap average house price of $309,000, which is one of the cheaper in the county. But remember, you'll be paying to live in the second most deprived, ugly, rundown crack den in the county, with the third worst crime in the county. It's just incredibly hard to find anything nice to say about Trowvegas, so instead, I'll end it on a joke. Why did the Romans call the city of Bath, Bath? Because it's right next to a toilet called Trowbridge. And number 1, Swindon. And to the surprise of literally nobody, Swindon takes the top spot. Swindon is a large town with a population of 233,000, but just avoid it like the plague. Things start off badly for Swindon as soon as you realise the name Swindon literally means Pig Hill in Old English. Things continue going badly when you learn that Swindon was ranked as the 8th worst place to live in the UK this year. Coming to Swindon is like stepping onto another planet. A planet where they haven't even discovered fire yet. There's just no way to spin it, it's simply horrible here. You should not be fearful walking down the main street of any major UK town, but we felt extremely unwelcome and out of place here. People high on the spice of life block your path at every turn, whilst homeless people hurl abuse at you. McDonald's seems to be the meeting point for these creatures, and the square around McDonald's is their own personal arena to practice walking. Whilst the groups of menacing children congregating around here are bad, the environment that they inhabit is worse. I have never in all my time doing this channel visited such a rundown piece of trash shopping centre as the Brunel shopping centre. We estimate that 90% of the shops are empty. And this isn't some random out of the way relic from the past, it's right in the heart of Swindon. So if this place is dead, Swindon must be too. We are asked to stop filming by security, presumably because they were so ashamed of this place. The whole centre area of Swindon is dominated by a huge dirty skyscraper, the Brunel Tower, which is apparently structurally unsafe and needs a load of work done to it. If it was up to me, I'd not bother spending millions to fix it and instead I'd let it collapse and decimate all the trash below it. Swindon is intimidating and depressing and it's hard to see a way back for the town at this point. Wiltshire Council should hang their heads in shame. Swindon's had a bad reputation ever since I can remember, and I doubt it's getting better. Do they actually have any intentions to help the people of Swindon, or are they just trying to pretend the place doesn't exist? The only shops that seem to be doing well here are the pound shop stores, which shows that the cost of living crisis is biting Swindon hard. And that statement is unfortunately backed up by the fact that a core of children living in Swindon are living in poverty. This means that Swindon is very well on its way to becoming a third world country. But if you're not bothered by anything I've just told you, you can buy a house here for the average price of $281,000, which is among the cheapest in Wiltshire. Most of the houses are just terraced trash left over from the Victorian times, and I'd be surprised they even have running water. But hey, at least you'd have a roof over your head. The biggest tourist attraction in Swindon is the Magic Roundabout, which at least is free to visit. Swindon also has its own Football League team located not far away from the town centre, which means that every other weekend hordes of pissed up football fans go tearing through the town centre and nearby neighbourhoods. Now this might be a laugh if it wasn't for the extremely violent nature of Swindon town fans. A few months ago, a huge brawl happened in the town centre between Newport and Swindon fans using chairs and stools as weapons as shoppers fled for their lives. In a separate incident recently, Swindon fans took over the Magic Roundabout and played in the traffic. No matter what day of the week you visit Swindon, there's bound to be something going on. I did manage to find something positive about Swindon though. Its crime rate isn't actually that bad compared to Wiltshire or even the rest of the UK. Its crime rate of 76 in 1,000 is the 4th worst in Wiltshire, which surprised me. I think this town is going to be in real trouble when the Neanderthals outside McDonald's learn how to walk. And that's the list. Did we miss anywhere out? Let us know in the comments. We've deliberately avoided including any towns which aren't really that bad and don't have a reason to feature on this list. Boring is not a reason to feature them. Let us know where we should visit next, and let me know if you'd be interested in a video in Cumbria. I quite fancy that myself. Please share and comment on this video, it really helps me fix my wing mirror and get about more. And don't forget to hit like and subscribe and help Turdtowns thrive.